Hello everyone, so today we will be looking at the current version of Ragnarok X Global and see what it has to offer. So first, there will be 4 new bosses, and for the MVPs it's Satan Morok and Time Holder, while for Mini we have Missile Tane and Chimera. So we will be discussing what it drops and how it currently affects the game. Hello everyone, so let's start with Satan Morok drops. So first of all, the card is for a wizard DPS in PvP, which is I think is very strong if you want to get it. And for the weapons, first of all, I do not suggest for anyone to get this weapon, especially if you already have a gold weapon that is 5 slot. First of all, because I think the damage increase is not much. So let's check each weapon. So for the longbow, the exclusive is like this. It's minus 50% attack speed and crit damage 35%. So currently, I play as a ranger and we don't use crit as much. But I heard that there are some players who play with hybrid. But I don't think the cost of this bow will justify the 35% crit damage. So if you have a 5 slot already, you don't need to swap. So same with the winner's longsword, it's basically the same logic. And with the book, I think it's useless unless you're a DPS AB or like a DPS Sage, if that is even viable. So Katara is the same logic with the longbow and the longsword. The one-handed sword, so this one can help, especially if you need haste, because the passive is 10% haste and it's a bit high, especially if you don't have much haste, because it will give a lot of VCD. And for the one-handed rod, this can also be viable if you still don't use the haste shield. But if you use, I don't think you need to swap. And this one, the Hermit Knuckle, I think no one plays LK and PvP right now. I don't know if it's viable, but probably the other Knuckles is better. The refresh one from Mistress. Okay, so next we'll go to Time Holder. So with Time Holder, so I think this armor card is very good because it provides P damage reduction and M damage reduction, and also HP, which can help a lot for players who focus on PvP. And of course, the Vine Short Bow. I've seen some trapper snipers, but I think the refresh one is better from Verkan, so I think you don't need to get this. The two-handed spear, the Pipen, I think the refresh one is better. I think every weapon that involves skills, the refresh one from Frioni and Mistress is better, I think. So same with the two-handed axe, but I doubt someone uses it. 200 rod with the wizard can be very good, especially if you want DPS. But I think the one from Double or Amonra is better for PvP. And this one is like, the dagger is still better with the refresh one from Edgar. But I don't know who uses this, but I don't think it's useful. The shield one, this shield one is very tricky, but I think it's good because it gives both reductions, but I don't know if it's better than the dispel one, the Rosamunda from Double. So this is the same logic with the bow if you're an HKN champion. So if you already have a 5 slot, you don't need to get this. And also the guitar is useless. I don't think we have seen the whip, but I think it's in Morok. But yeah, the refresh one from Frioni is still the best for guitar and whip. So next is the mini drops. So for Missile Tane, we have the card, which is very similar to the Morok, but this one's for physical, which I think is very good, especially if you don't have the Feast of the North Star card. So next is the accessory. I think this is useless because the drops from Vagabond and Dark Priest is better, and attack speed doesn't help much. This can be good depending on if you need more final crit, especially what we have seen from the previous War of the Chosen, that sometimes the supports have very high anti-crit. Then okay, so this talisman is very big. The int talisman is very strong, and if you still don't have a talisman and you use int, I think you should get this and just fix your accessories. As you can see, the exclusive is 15.1%. The base is 156, so that explains itself. It gives too much int, which can give a lot of attack or damage scaling based on your skill. Another one is the dex. So personally, I will switch to this once it gets cheaper. But I think this dex talisman is better, and people who wants to play the ranger are still not committed to double DS and double dex, I think you should invest to this rather than getting double eclipse dex and double DS. And the last one is this headwear from Mistletoe. I think you'll just get for cosmetics. So next is for Chimera. So the card is very underwhelming. I don't think that you should buy this unless you really want it, or like if you get it, I think you should use it, especially if you use P-Pen, because unless you have the Scepter Pumpkin, which gives 12% P-Pen. And let's go to the accessories. So for this one, I think this is very good because it's very similar to Wolf Head Orb. So I think this Miss Earrings is very viable. And this one is also good because again it's M-Pan and M damage bonus. Okay, so the STR is same as the Dex, but STR is very good, especially for Assassin, HKN. I don't know if Rune Knights use Seer Talisman or the purple one, but if you can afford it, then you should get it. I think it's very strong, given the stats that you see in the screen. So for Agi, I think it's very good too, especially for Wanderers, because they're Agi based and they can increase your damage with Eternal Chaos, especially if you have a lot of Agi. This will give so much Agi. So next is the face bandage, which is just cosmetic, but it looks good. So that's it for the minis. So now we will proceed on how you can survive or beat these MVPs and minis. So we will not be testing it on the dummies because it will take so long to proc their skills, because I don't do much damage to them. So we'll use this, the guide in the MVP board. So first is the Hell Tornado. So this skill is a very large AoE from Morok, and if you don't have Demon Reduction, I don't think you can survive unless you have a very high VIT. So you can just run outside the AoE. For the next one is Black Hole Dimension. So basically, Morok creates 4 red circles which does damage, and the next one is a cross which releases these black hole orbs. So basically you can dodge both of those skills because they won't exist at the same time. Okay, so the next one is Demon King Domain. I think this is one of the more important ones. So basically you need to press A and D at the same time. I don't know how it works with mobile, but maybe you can move your movement wheel, but you need to press AD a lot of times so you can survive. And after you have pressed a lot of times, then you will survive once you fall down again to the ground. But the key is after the first one, the next Demon King Domain, it will proc a meteor which you need to dodge by Play Dead. If you do Morok, you'll understand what I'm saying. So yeah, so that's for Morok. Then for Time Holder, so basically for Time Holder, it's not difficult. I think it's a lot easier than Morok, to be honest. So first, this Warning Pulse, this doesn't do much damage, but basically it's just an AoE wherein the first AoE will be replaced by the second AoE, but it's alternating where you can be safe. Okay, then the next one is Time Family, wherein it just summons this time Clock Tower managers. Okay, then the next one is in phase 2. Actually it's not phase 2, but for Torrential Time, so it just summons another one and creates an after image which casts the both skills from phase 1 But again, it doesn't do much damage, okay? Not the same as the original, okay? So the next one is rock paper scissors. So basically what you get, for example, in the video he got a rock, right? So you basically go to the symbol that you beat. I believe that everyone has played rock paper scissors before. So basically rock defeats scissors, scissors defeat papers, and paper defeats rock. So that's it. So there's a single skill here that they don't show in the guide. It's the time fixing fluid. So if you do time holder, you'll see it. But basically, you just need to keep moving because it's a random AOE that comes from the sky, and there's no indicator where it will drop. But it's like 5 seconds of continuous barrage, and that's why you need to keep running it, and it hurts a lot. So that's for the MVPs. So now for the minis, we have Mistletoe first. So basically, Demon Slash creates like 6 slashes around him, but this doesn't hurt much. Trust me, I'm not very tanky, but I survived this. The other thing is Mistletoe Slash. I think people will also not die to this, but for Demon Slash, I forgot to mention that for melee classes, if you're sticking too much or overlapping Mistletoe, those 6 slashes will all hit you, and you'll surely die unless you're like a whale that's very tanky. Okay, so for phase 2, Swords of Judgment. So this is the only skill that I avoid as a ranger with Mistletoe. So basically during this moment, you don't hit Mistletoe, just keep moving around, and once it's finished, just hit, because it hurts so much. And once one sword hits you, it's difficult to dodge the next one because you'll get like lag or something, like when you'll stutter once you get damage. Okay, so Mistletoe is very easy, trust me if you try it. Okay, so next is for Chimera. So for Chimera, Earth Mover is basically a big AoE outside first, then punch on the ground with Chimera's right hand and left hand. So basically these skills are not very painful. As a ranger, I survive it easily. But yeah, that's the pattern, a big AoE. As you can see here, a big AoE, a punch on the right, then a punch on the left. Okay? But you can decide not to dodge that, okay? So this one, Earth Shatter. So Chimera jumps and you can attack him, and you'll see a blue circle on the ground. And you need to stay there to survive, or else you'll die. Okay? So for phase 2, Medusa's head. So he will bring down, I think it's 4 rocks, but in the video it only shows 3. And you need to hide behind the rock, because the snakes are very strong. And after you hid behind the rock, you need to run away from it after the snake, because if you will see here, the rock will explode. You can see the AoE, and it doesn't show in the video, but after this, there are moments where it will trigger multiple AoEs of skills where I just run away from it. I just run away from the AoE because it keeps moving and it pulses for 4 times, and it will stone curse you. So you just run from it. Okay, so that's it for the mini. So now let's review the new cards from all the Baran. So from Clock Tower 1F we have Briarlight. So for Briarlight, it's an armor card with this effects. I think it's the best in slot for now, unless you have a gold card. And the next one is Punk, which is a cloak card, which is, I also think it's very good. The reduction and this duration reduction can help a lot. It can be the difference between surviving and dying. And the Evil Druid one, which is a weapon card that provides 350 attack speed. I don't know how useful will this be. I don't think it will be not. So let's proceed to the next ones. For Clock Tower 2F we have Battery. So basically Battery is like Briarlight, but it's M damage. And I don't know if you should get this, but you should get this if you like switching cards during PvP. because mostly people will use P damage reduction because most of the class are physical. But you can use this if there's like a strong wizard. Next is Joker, which is a hardware card that provides fire attribute in the element, 7%. Kalitzberg is a weapon card with 350 hit, which can be very useful for other classes. It uses auto attack that misses. Okay, so next map is Clock Tower B1. So we have Cramp. Cramp is 7% poison attribute enhanced accessory, which is can be used for assassin, I think. For Phenomena, it's 7% ghost on accessory 2. For Dark Frame, it's 7% water on accessory. And for Clock Tower B2, we have Alarm, which is 7% neutral on head. 7% holy for the clock card on the headwear 2. And for the manager, it's 7% earth at the headgear 2. Okay, so as you can see, it's mostly elemental cards for Aldebaran. And last map is Wanderer. I mean, Nightmare Clock Tower. So we have Wanderer, which is the opposite of Pang that we have seen in the 1F. And we have Zelotus, which is 7% which can be used by wizards. And last but not least is Pendark, which provides set 30-50 dodge in weapon, but I don't think it's useful. Okay, so that's it for the new cards in Aldebaran. So next will be the new enchants in Aldebaran. So let's start with the accessory. So for accessory, if you can see, it's very similar to Morok. Not entirely similar, but you can see the enchants you saw in Morok, especially final attack speed, final haste, final crit damage, and the others. But the new ones here is you can see final P-pen and final M-pen, which is very helpful for pen classes because the current patch doesn't have enough pen cards or items where you can get penetration from. Okay, so next is the armor one. So for armor, again, you can see similarities with Morok, but the new ones here are this max HP and max SP regen. So I don't think max SP regen is useful, but this max HP regen is very helpful, especially on PvP contents. So basically you have an extra nightmare card or probably stronger, so it'll be very difficult to kill. And for weapon, it's the same as Morok, but just higher scaling. So I don't think you should get this. I think the Payan race is still better. So to craft this enchant items, you need level 10 smelting, level 5 Muspelheim, and this garden, which I also assume that needs level 10 gardening. Yeah. So that's it for Aldebaran enchants. So next is the new board quest for Aldebaran. So we have an entirely new set of quests, which I think most people just skip. So there will be new cosmetics for people who loves dressing up. This is called the officer set, I think. Yeah. So that's also a new thing that you can look forward to if once you get to Aldebaran. So last but not the least for this video is the Alduk instance, which is still unlocked for me, but it unlocks at level 98. So let's see what it drops. So first of all, let's look for the card. The card is a cloak card which gives 50% HP and 18% debuff first in PvP. It's very good, it can help on controls. So the next ones are the weapons. So if we scroll up to the lowest page, so basically it's the same effects for similar types of weapon. So basically it does 270% usual P damage, reduces their final P def, which is very good for P-pen characters. But I think the only character that people play now that is Pippin is the Beat Knight, which is played by most whales. But if you're not a whale, then you can use the sword, which can reduce the enemy's Pippin. And for the offhand, you can check that it's almost the same effect. For the two-handed weapon, we can see that I think the two-handed character that currently uses pen is only Ranger. So let's look into that. As you can see, some people are buying it already. So it reduces 12% final P depth, basically a plus 12% final P pen increase, but only for 2 seconds. I don't think it's very useful, and it's expensive. I think the pre-order is 5M. Yeah, it's 5M. So the biggest thing for me in this new instance is the accessories. So what does the accessory give? So basically, it's a PvP accessory in a purple rarity, which we do not have previously for the War of the Chosen. So now, people who build purple can fight gold people. I don't, not equally, but at least the gap is close. So it gives these exclusives. PvP final P damage bonus 6.4, damage to neutral. But the most important thing is this refine. As you can see, it gives final P damage bonus. Same with this one, which gives M damage. And this one's just, it's useless. I don't think someone will use this unless you're a crit build. And for the talisman, as you can see, this one also gives P damage, PvP. This one is very good. It's very similar to the Vagabond talisman, or like the Dark Priest talisman. I can't remember, but this one's very good. This is very similar to Wolf Head Orb, which you can use in PvP, especially if you have purple already. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day.